come back from a blustery racing walk this morning and decided that today is definitely a soup day. So I'm going to do my Moroccan butternut soup. I call it Moroccan because it's basically got tagine spices in it. So it has cinnamon, cumin, coriander, and a bit of turmeric. And I do it slightly differently. I do it with tomato, garlic and onion. So it doesn't change the color necessarily. It doesn't make it a sort of red soup. But it gives a sort of more interesting dimension to the soup. I usually do it with a couple of fresh tomatoes. I don't have big fresh tomatoes, so I'm doing it with a tin of crushed tomatoes, so we'll see how that goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to sweat down the onions and the garlic. Turn this down so it doesn't burn. And then once the onions are sort of nice and soft, then I'm going to add the spices to fry off the spices, release those lovely oils, and stop that dried spice, taste. So the onions are nice and soft now. Now I'm going to add the butternut. This is quite a big butternut, which I'm going to toss in this before I add my spices, because I want this to pick up a little bit of the oil and then the spice mixture to coat all of that, because it's still frying, so it's fine. I've added a touch of crushed chili to this, so it doesn't give heat necessarily, but it just gives you something else. So that is turmeric, cinnamon, it's 3/4 of a teaspoon of everything, except for the cumin, which is 2 teaspoons. The chilies is only half a teaspoon. Okay, so you can see now the spices are frying and they're coating the butternut with this olive oil. And now I'm going to add the tin tomatoes. So if you're using fresh tomatoes, I would use 2 really big ones or 3 sort of medium ones. And now we're going to add stock. So add stock of your choice. I use chicken stock for this, but use a vegetable stock. I'm also going to make this more of a concentrate actually, because I want to store some of this, but I don't want to store it in bulk. So I'm not going to add the amount of water that I would usually add to make it the soup consistency that I want. And the flavors are going to be sort of quite bold, because I'm not putting enough water in basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this, taste it, and everything will be a little bit too much. So it'll be too sort of spicy and too thick and all the rest of it, because I'll blend this down. And then what I'm going to do is store it more as a soup concentrate. So what I'm going to have for today, I will show you the consistency that I want it to be. And then the balance of it, you'll see it's like almost a puree. And then all you have to do with that is chuck it into a pan and then add water to that. And then you get the right consistency and the right flavors coming through. And then just cook it a little bit so that it all blends together nicely. So I'm just putting enough water in just to cover this. So this will cook down a little bit, and then obviously when I blend it, it's going to be quite thick. I'm going to add salt and pepper to this and then leave it to cook. So this has been cooking about half an hour, 40 minutes. Come and have a look here. This is what it looks like. And now I'm going to blend it. So here we've got this lovely thick, you could even eat it like this if you wanted to. I'm just checking the seasoning. This can be watered down slightly. It's not as thick as I anticipated it would be because I haven't let it cook right down. But this is going to go into a separate bag, which I'm going to freeze down, and then I'm just going to leave. So I will thin this out slightly with a bit more stock. But this part will just go into a bag to freeze. So here I've thinned this down a little bit because I don't want it to be too thick. And I thinned it down with some more chicken stock. So if you've got some nice fresh herbs, you can snip some on there. I'm just going to put a dollop of mascarpone into the middle of this. If you've got creme fraiche, do creme fraiche, or you could do a swirl of cream. But I want the richness of this mascarpone. So I'm just going to let that melt in there. And then that is the bowl of soup. The nice homemade fresh bread roll, or some lovely sourdough bread, crusty bread, anything like that. And then you've got a lovely warming meal to have. So enjoy my Moroccan butternut soup.